reaction from the Supreme Court. The New York Times reporting it has obtained secret memos, which it says, quote, illuminate the origins of the court's now routine shadow docket rulings on presidential power. Joining us now in those not-so-secret memos, Fox News legal editor Carrie Urban. You know, I was thinking the last big leak out of the Supreme Court was Dobbs. And that was 4 years ago now. Yeah. How time flies. And now this. Where's the stuff coming from?
And there was another one between Dobbs and this one, and that one was on presidential immunity. That was in 2024, I believe, and it was a memo that detailed how the chief was going to handle the decision. And within that same report, and that was also from the New York Times, was one about, there was some information about how he had reassigned an opinion from Justice Alito to himself because of the so-called flag controversy that was happening at his home at the time, if you remember that one. And so we're looking at 3 major leaks over the last 4 years, which is really unheard of for the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay, so why?
It's a great question, Sandra. And look, I think these leaks tend to go in one direction, and it is to undercut what the conservative wing of the Supreme Court is doing or is in the process of doing. Certainly that was the case with Dobbs, and we saw what happened there when that decision was leaked. You know, the justices faced violence at their homes. Attorney General Garland, unfortunately, didn't enforce the law at the time that would have stopped the protesters from doing some of the things they were doing around their homes. We remember that time. It was really troubling. It was the same time where that man attempted to murder Justice Brett Kavanaugh. It had some real world possible harms that could have occurred. And so why is it happening? Look, I think there are some disgruntled people that elections have consequences, and a Republican president has made some pretty conservative picks for the Supreme Court, and there are people who are unhappy with that, so they're willing to undercut and bypass the traditions and protocols of the Supreme Court and endanger its future, really, by leaking out things from that building to the general public who don't have the context and are certainly undercutting the public's trust just in the integrity of the institution by doing so.
You know, you got to